Hi, this is Lucky Smith reporting for Starver News Magazine. I'm here with
Jourdain LaFleur.
Mr. Jourdain. So I understand that you have a new song, or you're working on your latest EP, correct?
Yes. Yeah, trying to finish that up sometime this decade.
So, is this your first solo album?
Yes, it is. Yeah, before that I was producing, songwriting.
And let's talk about, because I heard that I read in your bio that you had said that you grew up, or 10 years ago, so most of your musical inspiration was classical, and then you were like in a metal band before. So
Right.
the music like China, the other song was this Can Let You Go.
Right.
It's kind of different from where you're training from.
You know, it's very pop. When I was in the band called Oblivious Red.
Okay.
Our bassist, his name is Rudy. He comes from like a ska type of background, but he introduced me to Coldplay when we were in high school, and you know, at night or whatever, we'd hang out with the band and all that, and then everybody would leave and go home, and he would always stay over a couple hours longer, you know, because our families were really, really tight, so he could just come whenever he wanted to, and same with me. And he'd have his bass, and then we just started kind of jamming out, you know, like to Coldplay stuff, you know, and that's when I started getting my love for that type of music, because before that it was like, you know, I was listening to nothing but like thrash metal and all that stuff, and I was kind of getting away from all the classical music influences because I just didn't want any of that because I was so sick of it. And as I got older, I started listening to more bands and all that, and he was always researching bands like that, so we would always listen to bands with crazy effects, you know, like Pink Floyd effects.
Oh yeah, yeah.
You know, where they put some massive amounts of delay and reverb and stuff, and we started kind of putting that in our own music. So our own music started kind of shifting from this like metal, because it was like kind of like Deftones type of metal.
Oh, nice, yeah.
And then it went from that, and then it just started shifting into more like singer-songwriter. And
you guys were signed, right?
Yeah, we got signed by an independent record label called Bridgetown Records.
How did they feel? Because a lot of times when they sign you and you try to change your sound like that, they may not. Were they upset?
They were. You know, for them it was kind of like whatever the bands felt like they wanted to do. As long as the fans are faithful, then they're pretty cool, because they were, you know, like I said, it was just two guys.
Okay.
You know, so they were guys that worked regular 9-to-5 jobs, and all the money that they made from their jobs and stuff, they would just pour that right into the music business.
Gotcha.
So because of that, they did all the, you know, the printed T-shirts, they did all that, and so we just have to do all the road work.
Yeah.
You know, so we do pretty much every gig possible, you know, in order to get fans or whatever. So we'd open for larger bands, and then we just kind of worked our way up. We ended up getting dropped from the label after about 2 years of being with the label.
Okay.
Just because there were too many differences, and then we had our guitarist that wanted to leave because he was kind of sick of being in a band and being on the road and stuff, and he was having some like family issues.
Yeah, it could be
and
tough.
So, right, you know, and he was having also some girlfriend type of issues where she was not comfortable with him leaving all the time. And then, so it was, you know, it's always things
it's
like
always
that.
The girlfriend, right?
It's always that breaks up the band. And so,
I know somebody's girlfriend.
You know, and so I got kind of, you know, for me, like, I was always the guy out of the whole band that was really, really serious about doing the music. Everybody else was just like, oh man, you know, we can have fun, we can drink, we can do some girls.
It's like a hobby or whatever.
Right.
Let's get laid. Yeah,
right.
yeah.
You know, but we had like, you know, they gave us a pretty decent budget, because we bought a house all together. We bought a house, and then we turned the whole downstairs of the house into a huge recording studio. So we had about like a recording studio that was about like 600 or 700 square feet.
Jeez.
So we just, and we had our bedrooms upstairs and stuff, and we'd get up early in the morning, 8:30, 9 o'clock, and then we'd just start practicing right away. But then parties started happening and all that. We'd have shows, and then we'd come back home, and then we'd have like a party.
Yeah.
And that started turning into like every night. And then I got really, really sick of it after a while, because I kind of wanted to write. I wanted to, there was stuff that was inside that I couldn't get out, because it was like, well, we're having parties, so we can't work on shit.
So how'd you go from being an artist, a frontman, to producing? Because you mentioned before you had worked with a lot of different, you worked and produced hip hop songs as well, and how'd you get into that?
Well, I started producing out of necessity. I didn't want to. I basically, after I got dropped, I took whatever money I had left, and I decided I wanted to go on my own. I didn't really know what that meant. I just knew that I wanted to do something on my own.
Yeah.
So I worked at Guitar Center, and I had a friend, so I asked him, hey, do you know any good recording studios, this and that? So he told me, hey, this guy in Fullerton, they charge really good prices, they got a really good legit type of studio, you can go there, they'll work with you. So I went there. I got in touch with a guy named Beat Smith. And
what studio in Fullerton?
Oh, jeez.
Because I interview bands out there, and I've met them at studios out there.
I really don't remember the name of it.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
They recorded. They did that song like that song that goes, "I wish I was a baller." Wish I was a baller. Yeah, they did that song.
Okay.
Over there at that studio.
Oh, nice.
That's where that song was recorded. So. I was pretty happy, because I was like, wow, there's been some names have been in here. When you're a kid, you're excited. You're like, oh, the lights, the cameras, all this. And so I recorded there, and then me and the dude, we started getting really acquainted really, really quickly. So I just kind of I was able to do a lot of stuff on the fly. So he just kind of showed me some beats, and then I would just kind of put some more stuff into the beats, and just kind of, so that was my early days of producing. But then, the well of money started running dry. And, even though, me and him were still cool, people still have to eat.
Yeah.
So I decided at that point that I didn't want to do that anymore and commute all the way to Fullerton from Covina, from where I lived. So I decided that I was going to get a loan. So I got a loan from my credit union. And I bought a computer, bought a mic, and bought some headphones. And then I just started learning slowly but surely how to produce and what producing meant. And so it's just
self-taught,
trial and error, trial and error, trial and error.
Does it help that you know how to play multiple instruments?
Yeah, it really does. It saves you a lot of money.
What instruments do you know? I noticed you have a keyboard and guitar. Do you know how to play anything else?
I play keyboard. I play drums. I play guitar. I play clarinet.
Wow.
I used to be able to play the flute. Not anymore. I played the trumpet.
Okay, so is there any instrument that you favor?
I'd have to say the piano.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's from is that from your father, your grandfather?
Actually, nobody in my family knows how to play piano. So they're all. My father was a guitarist.
Okay.
And my grandfather was a classical clarinetist.
Okay.
So he played clarinet, and then he played accordion after that. So he played in, an accordion type of band, and that's all he did until recently, because now the accordion weighs more than him, so. Yeah, and then, but the thing is, with a piano, you can feel, it's kind of weird, you can feel an emotional kind of connect when you have with the keys. You can be as soft as you want on them, or you could just pound the living crap out of them, and just really convey, all that emotion directly through the instrument without breaking it.
So are you going to put some piano, more piano themed songs on your latest album, or?
Yeah, I think pretty much all the songs have piano in them. It is my root instrument to write. So, but the guitar would have to be my second favorite though. Because I write a lot on the guitar also, but it's a different emotion, so it's a different style of writing that I get with the guitar than I do with the piano.
What type of emotions would you identify more with the piano versus the guitar?
The piano is more, it's a lot softer.
Okay.
At times.
So something more of like love songs type of.
Yeah, I think it's more like you can convey pain a lot more. I know it sounds kind of sadomasochistic, but you can, all the pain that you have, you can put that through the piano.
Yeah.
And there's that kind of connect that you can feel with every single key that you're hitting. On the guitar, it's just kind of fun to play.
Mm.
You have a rhythm and stuff, and you can put some good ballads and some good songs, and even like a big solo, but it's just still nothing like how a piano is, because the piano there's so much emotion that you can convey to it. You can be happy, you can jam out, or you can be just retardedly painful on it.
So you produce, and now let's talk about your two songs. I mean, what made you decide to go into pop rock with this album?
It's a good question. I think wanting to sell records is one. I think that's what it is. But I've always been like a poppy writer. Like even when I was writing like hard stuff, in the bands that I was in, there was still that formula of verse, chorus, bridge, chorus, and then that's the end.
With the catchy hook,
right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it was hard because there's distortion, and there's all these crazy effects on it. But when you strip the song,
mm-hmm.
and you have an acoustic, it kind of sounds like a dark pop song. So that's why I just decided to do it, because I was, and I think all my experiences from the management that I had at the time,
yeah,
when I started songwriting and producing for other artists, they were pushing me, because the other record companies were pushing me. They were like, look, you're a really good pop writer. You need to write pop, because pop is where the money is. And
well, yeah, I heard China's very catchy. Like I was listening it last night and this morning. I was like, okay, and I heard Let You Go, even though like if you read the lyrics, it's kind of sad, but there's like you have this happy beat to it, so you're
right. Yeah, it's fun, because there's another way that you can convey like emotion. You don't have to make it like slit your wrist every single time.
Yeah.
You can make it kind of like happy, because you're getting over somebody. So getting over somebody doesn't have to be. It's painful, but it's happy at the same time, because it's like you're getting over somebody. You're letting them go. So it doesn't have to be all sad.
That is very true. Is this album inspired by a breakup?
No, I wouldn't say that. I think it's inspired by a lot of things. It's also, I think, political, because I've always been one of those artists that I like watching like CNN and seeing what goes on and all that, and I really like doing benefits. For me, that's like one of the things that I get to give back.
What's your favorite charity?
I would have to say the Red Cross, because I've worked with them in the past.
Okay.
I did a Haiti event for them, in which Viacom was a partner, and so we raised $10,000 with the charity.
Nice.
And Viacom came in and they said, "Hey, whatever you make, we'll match it." So that ended up being $20,000 that we got to send out to Haiti. So that was really rewarding, knowing that, you know, you're just a small artist
Helping.
but you help like a bigger cause, but you know, you get to help people with the gift that you have. And I think that everybody in this world has a gift, and however you have to find to make this world a better place is how you got to do it. And so for me, that's what I'm doing, because that's what I'm the best at. I'm never going to take a plane and realistically build a house for somebody. I wish I could, but I'm no good at that. You don't want me building a house for you. The house will burn.
But you can build music and produce music and write sheet music and so on, correct? That's where...
Yes. Yeah, so, you know, I use what I have to do, you know, my best to kind of convey like that same message of I guess of peace to other people. I think for me that's what this album is more about. It's not, I don't want to make it like superfluous, like everything has to be about a relationship, or everything has to be about a breakup, or this girl that you love, or this and that. Like, I think there's more to life than that.
There is, yeah.
You know, but at the same time, that is part of life. You know, so it's kind of like a balance. But this album is very...
eclectic?
That, and I want to make it more universal. You know, and convey more of a message of peace and deliverance and stuff through this album, without preaching to people, because it's not a preachy type of album. I'm not telling you to do anything. I'm not telling you to go out there and do something good for somebody. You know, it's just
awareness.
Not even that. I think it's through my personal experiences that I'm just putting in the album. And as an artist, I think that's one of those things that you can do to help people is tell them about yourself. And some people will understand and some people won't, but that's okay.
What was your most fulfilling moment in your musical career so far?
I got to meet Quincy Jones recently.
Oh, wow. How was that?
It was amazing.
How'd you get me him?
You know, my publicist put me on a carpet at this event for Coca-Cola, benefiting, you know, great music and benefiting Coca-Cola with a lot of people. You know, Coca-Cola in music and sports and in movies. So yeah, I got the...
Cool.
So I went there, and I have the habit of showing up early to stuff.
So you're obviously, you're not an LA native then.
No, I don't do the fashionably late stuff for most of the time. When it comes to recording sessions, I'm like sometimes 45 minutes late.
All right, you're right. You're early at parties, but you're late for recording sessions.
Right.
Okay.
It's kind of, yeah, I get it. It's the other way around.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, so I was there, and Quincy was there, and we were the only two on the carpet. So he sees, you know, my slate with my name on it and what I do, and he just comes up to me and starts speaking French. And so we just start talking for like 15 minutes.
Are you still fluent in French?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And okay, so he just comes up to you and you guys just start talking.
Yeah, we just start talking, and all of a sudden, you know, we get to kind of talking and everything, and then more people come, but the media was, you know, they were taking photos of us and everything, because I guess they thought maybe we knew each other, but you know, for me it was an unbelievable experience, because I got to meet a legend guy, you know, a guy that I grew up basically listening to, because he's worked on everybody.
Yes.
You know, including artists from my country. So I went upstairs. He went in front of people. He started talking about how Coca-Cola has influenced, you know, the music industry, how the brand has been basically synonymous everywhere.
Yeah.
And afterwards, he did a book signing, and the publicist that I had meet me over there took the book without me knowing and just took it to Quincy, and Quincy wrote a personalized note in there.
Oh,
And
wow.
the note said, if you can see it, you can be it.
Do you have the book with you?
I do, yeah.
I want to take a picture of that.
So,
That is awesome. Let me see. And then I'm going to grab this other camera too.
So it says to Jourdain, if you can see it, you can be it. Go for it.
Isn't that inspiring when somebody
That's-
that you like believe in, grew up listening to, and that's so awesome. That is really cool.
That was amazing. So I that was like one of those like dream come true things. And then he gave me his card and was like, hey, if you ever feel like you want to show me your music, give me a call. And so I sent him music, I think a couple days later.
Oh, wow.
Just for him to have. But I told him at the event that I didn't expect a call back from him. I didn't want a call from him. I just wanted him just to have it. Because having him hear it is like,
it's an honor.
Is amazing just by itself. So,
Gee, and that is when do you expect your album to be out? When do you anticipate? I know you said sometimes it's decade, but
maybe in like 5 years. No. I'm still working on it. I haven't quite decided how many tracks it's going to be yet.
okay.
I'm still looking either at 10 or 12 tracks.
Standard.
Right. And so I guess that's how much I'm going for. But the thing is, it's I have a huge catalog of over like 600-700 songs. Because I'm always writing. I don't stop working. And
But you don't put everything out though. I notice you're very selective. Like everything you put out is professionally sound. You Google some bands and they have everything out from YouTube videos that you record on your phone to
right.
Yeah.
I own my own record company.
Okay.
So I kind of wanted to do it and develop it in a way that it's not like just an indie artist coming out. I wanted to give it like more of substance, like like it's a bigger type of artist.
Well, yeah, everything is the quality is high.
Right.
For being for an indie artist, yeah. So that's why I'm surprised that you're not signed. But then I see your home studio, and the fact that the information you gave me was you've been doing this for a very long time producing. So I guess you know how to make yourself sound
it's
pristine.
Right. For me, it's about the quality. So it's not like otherwise I would have bought a huge house in the hills.
Yeah.
And just done that. But for me, it's more like every penny that I get back goes back into recording. It goes back into buying more instruments, buying a new set of headphones, so I'm always constantly upgrading and upgrading and upgrading. So
What's the most expensive thing that you always have to keep upgrading?
The software.
Yes. Because every year and a half, 2 years, you have to...
So Apple works in a way that they will come out with a new operating system. So before they went from Leopard to Snow Leopard, from Lion to Mountain Lion, and now they have OS X Mavericks.
Yeah.
I'm behind. I'm on Lion, but I can't upgrade because otherwise the upgrade is going to cost me $10,000. Because Avid, I run on Pro Tools HD 8.
Okay.
They are on HD 11 now.
Yeah, because like when my minor is broadcasting radio, and when we took the Pro Tools for producing, the professor was like, yeah, they don't even use this software. I'm just like, well, why am I even taking the class? But okay.
Yeah. It's Pro Tools is it's a huge tool. It's industry standard. Before 7-10 years ago, you could get away with using like Cubase and, you know, Cakewalk. But nowadays, it's because everybody, you can go to any studio, from like the studio in the hood to directly to a multi-million-dollar studio in Burbank. And you can take your session and open it anywhere, because Pro Tools is compatible to a certain extent.
True.
To a certain extent. I've had, every time, for me, I've always had issues with opening old sessions from other places. So it's like you got to do all these weird conversions and all that, and import all that. It's such a pain.
So, your album's coming up. Is there anything else you want to talk about as well? Because you said that as soon as your album's complete, you're going to do your release party at the Gibson.
Yeah. So it was supposed to be done in January.
Okay.
Which is now January. So that's not going to happen. I'm looking at probably a March release.
March release, okay.
You know.
And then are you going to go on tour after that too?
That's, you know, it's something that I'm open to. I mean, it just, the business has to be figured out, you know. How long the tour is going to be. Who am I opening for, all that, you know.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, like, you know, I can't just say, yeah, I'll open for anybody, because realistically that's just not going to happen.
Exactly. And plus, if it's not the genre of music, then it has to be something that's within the same field.
Right. You know, it has to be something that's, you know, mutually beneficial for everybody, because it's like, you know, I'm not going to open for this guy who's does, like, you know, country western if I do this.
Yeah.
You know? But at the same time, you know, you never know who you attract, because you could have people that love country western and they'll go, wow, I really like what you have.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who have diversity in their musical taste.
Because it's at the end of the day, it's music. So, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know, I did a show a while ago for where I performed at LA Live.
Oh, nice.
I did Jamie Foxx's show.
Okay.
And so, you know, I went up there and I thought, hey, this is going to be terrible. I went up there, I met the drummer. The drummer came off the tour with Rihanna.
Okay.
The bassist came off the tour with, I think, Britney Spears. So they're all like super seasoned musicians.
Okay.
They had me bring them the music the day before, where I met Jeremiah. And me and Jeremiah worked with the same people. So we already kind of knew each other a little bit.
Yeah.
And so he was doing his sound check. And so I thought, I'm going to open for Jeremiah. Well, it ended up being the other way around.
Jeremiah ended up opening for you.
He ended up opening for me. I don't know how that's possible, but that's the way that my management at the time has set that up.
Yeah.
Don't ask me how. The segment producer of the show, his name is Nissan Stewart, who's a huge drummer.
Okay.
World-renowned drummer and producer. And he liked my sound so much, he was like, man, I'm booking you next week.
Nice.
That was it. There were no contracts. There was no, you know, nothing. It was like...
Did you perform China there, or what song did you do?
No, this was about 4 years ago.
Okay.
So I went, you know, Martin Curry, the dude who played Hanging with Mr. Cooper.
Okay.
He's the guy that introduced me on stage.
Nice.
So he was throwing out jokes. He was like, oh, he's a songwriter. He's a producer. He plays piano. He puts carpeting. He's a plumber. You know, just started throwing all this stuff out. And so I got, you know, the band, they heard the music maybe 2 hours ago. We did like
nervous?
a quick 10-minute sound check. I was nervous as hell, because I was like, oh, this is not going to be good.
Yeah.
You know, this is going to be a complete disaster.
Because you get nervous performing with a band that you have rehearsed with, let alone just like, man, here's my sheet music and go.
There wasn't even sheet music. No, they asked me to bring a CD. I brought a CD of like the 3 songs that I was performing.
Okay.
Threw it on. And I was like, oh shit, this is not going to be good. And then I went on stage and it went perfectly. I mean, everybody was dancing, everybody was clapping. Jamie Foxx, after the show, brought me to his green room.
Oh, sweet.
He had all the guards, like each bodyguard at each entrance, and he just wanted to talk to me one-on-one. And he was like, man, your sound's amazing, this and that, let's work together. So he had his own record label.
Yeah.
And he had an artist that he wanted me to produce for.
Which one? Because there's like, I covered one of his artists' show before. I can't remember his name right now though.
I'm trying to think.
Well, that's.
Oh, I can't
But
remember.
because I remember when he had his own label too. He
Right.
Was like,
he's got like 3 artists, I think.
Yeah.
And so this was a guy who was a rapper and R&B singer.
Okay.
And so he wanted me to, so I worked with him and all that. So it was a lot of fun, until it got to a certain point, until I just wanted to just kind of do my own thing.
You wanted to steer away from the hip hop scene and do more.
I mean, I had been doing it for so long, because it was like I was producing, it was like, oh, today work on Chris Brown stuff. Tomorrow go take a plane to Chicago and then go work on Beyonce stuff. Come back home, sleep for like a day, and then I gotta go hit this one place up to see if I can work on this movie project. So it was like the constant go and go and go, and I stopped working on my own stuff. And for me it was really frustrating, because it was like, I wanted to work on me. So I felt like I was advancing as a producer and as a songwriter, but as an artist I was just staying right here.
You were stagnant.
Right.
Yeah.
And I didn't want to do it.
So now that you're focused and your album's going to be complete, are you going, once March hit, are you going to go back to producing more, or just,
I still produce. I produce every single day. So I never stop.
So kind of having a studio at home, the catch-22 is you become a workaholic, right?
Yeah. But I can't be without it. Like, I'm in a bad mood if I don't produce.
So you produce every single day?
I have to.
How many hours a day do you spend working on music?
Probably about 8 to 10 hours.
8 to 10 hours, 7 days a week.
Yeah.
That's a lot. And you've been how many years have you been doing this now?
About 5 years.
About 5 years straight. Well, that's. Wow.
You got to put in the hours. I had a friend of mine who's my former manager, and he told me, if you want to make $1 million, you have to put $1 million worth of hours. If you work a job at minimum wage, 8 hours or 10 hours a day, how many hours do you think it's going to get you $1 million?
That's true.
And so that was the work ethic that I had decided that I wanted to do. But it's not even work, though, because you
love what you do.
You turn on the laptop, and then you'll find yourself creating, and all of a sudden you look at the watch, and it's like, it's 2 o'clock in the morning.
Is there anything you want to add or talk about before we wrap things up?
No, what do you want to talk about? Any questions?
Let me see. We went over your tour, we went over your album. We went over, how you moved here from France with your family. Do you ever go back and visit, or do you plan on producing, no, that's the question I want. Do you plan on producing any songs in French?
I do. I have one that is almost done. It will be on the album.
Okay.
As like a bonus track.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you find that producing American music and like French songs, is it difficult for you, or very contrast?
It's a little bit more difficult to write in French, because it's French is less. French is more like painting like a Picasso.
Okay.
Than just copying the outdoor landscape. you know, you can go out there and you can go, oh, there's a car, you know, draw the car, and you know, you draw the house, this and that. But in the French language, it's a little bit more. There's way more words. The vocabulary is huge, and there's no like simple words, you know. So it's like it's very similar to Spanish.
Yeah, it's a romantic language.
Right.
Yeah.
So because of that, you can't really. You got to paint the picture. So like there's hours of writing that goes into it, because it's like, you know, if you wanna say that the door is red, you can't just go, well, the door is red or the sky is red. You know, you have to paint the picture so that people can understand what you mean by like the sky is red. You know, I walked outside and I saw the sky, you know, painted of velvet or something like that. You know, just
yeah.
you know, and you just build on that idea. But you have it's a more descriptive language than English, I feel.
Well, there's a couple French songs that I like. That I don't speak French. But one time I was watching this movie and there's this French song that played, and I was like, ooh. So I googled the artist and I listened to her, and then
Who's the artist?
I can't remember it. It was like the song starts with E-L. I can't think of the name. I'll send you when I send you the link. I'll send you the link to it. 'Cause I need the song of the day before.
Right.
That's how much I liked it. But her voice was so hypnotic, and that's what it was. And then afterwards, I kind of was curious on what the lyrics were saying, and then it was something like the Starry Night, and that it was like a love song, but I kind of felt what she was saying without even understanding her language before I even read the lyrics.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's how I knew, like, oh, I like French music from that.
Right.
Because they're very passionate. You can feel it. You may not understand what they're saying, but your emotions can capture what they're saying. And a lot of times, whatever I'm feeling or what I'm thinking they're trying to convey, when I look up the lyrics and just translation, it matches. So, when you do go on tour, are you planning on doing any tours back in your home country?
Absolutely. Yeah. I plan on, I would like, ideally, to go on tour with French artists.
Who are some of the French artists that you'd be interested in going on tour with?
There is one girl. Her name is Zazie.
Okay.
She is I think she plays kind of the same type of music that I do. But she's like, she's amazing. She's been doing music since I was a kid.
Okay.
And, you know, she's just, her music is, like you said, like very hypnotic, you know.
Yeah.
She uses like almost like soft, really soft like keys and stuff, but then like with some like really heavy drum and bass stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And her voice just kind of is so soft that you can feel like every single inch of every emotion that comes, and it's just amazing. So I watched some YouTube videos of her performing, and you know, when you have like American bands play, they just kind of go, hey, we're so and so, we hope you like us.
Ah.
But for her, it's like an experience. Like the lights go down, the whole stage is black, and then you'll have like one blue light that just shines on her while she's singing, and then, you know, then she'll go into the crowd and stuff, and you can feel every single thing, because it's not only about the music, but it's like the whole surroundings. So it's like the lights, everything conveys that same message.
I have to Google her, because like that's not an artist that I'm familiar with. Any other artists that you would like to go on tour with?
Yeah, this guy, his name is Calogero.
Uh-huh.
He does, I guess he'd be like the French version of like harder Coldplay.
Oh, nice.
he's very rock, but still with a lot of like you can hear all the classical chords in it and stuff, and every once in a while he'll put in some like classical instruments in there. So it's very like driven music. I like really stuff that's like very like pounding. You know, we have the keys pounding and you have the drums pounding just as much as the keys are. And it's like the keys and the drums are like mirroring each other. And then you have the huge guitars, you know, like stadium rock.
Yeah.
Like, you know, you have, you know, I don't know, The Fray, or you have Muse.
Yeah.
Yeah, those type of, you know, that's, for me, that's the brand of rock that I love. Because it's hard but there's a message. It's not just hard just for the sake of being hard. You don't have like 3 guitars on stage playing the exact same guitar part.
True. What are some of your musical inspirations right now for you? Like some of your bands that you like look for inspiration.
I kind of look everywhere. The other day I was listening to Otis Redding.
Okay.
I was listening to Otis Redding and Al Green. That was, I was in that type of feeling that I didn't want to hear anything contemporary. I didn't want to hear any rock. I didn't want to hear any blues. I didn't want to hear any, new age. I wanted to hear old Otis Redding.
You know what's really cool about you is like your musical inspirations I cannot hear in your music, which is good because a lot of times artists love their inspiration so much that you can hear it, but your inspirations are very diverse from what you create.
Yeah, you don't want to know what goes on in my head. I think that's what it is. I think I'm probably certifiably insane. That's probably what. There's a doctor that comes in here. He'll probably put the stamp of you belong in a house.
No, I mean most artists. They think differently than I guess.
We're like very egocentric. We're out there. We're absolutely out there. Like I wake up sometimes and I have music playing in my head. Now some people would call that like schizophrenic. Yeah, because you're like hearing, it's not voices, but you're hearing like a whole symphony of instruments.
Oh wow.
And it's like you got to run to the computer because if you don't do it, then it's going to be lost. It's gone. It's finished.
I could kind of relate when I write poetry or when I write, like, when I'm working on a book, there's, like, a scene that plays in my mind, and I have to stop whatever I'm doing and write it down, whether it's in front of my laptop or notes or something. Right. So I kind of get it, because otherwise it keeps replaying until you get it out of your head, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it'll drive you, it just drives you crazy. And for me, I've done things where I pull out the phone, I'll sing into the phone, and then that's it. And 9 times out of 10, that's all it ever is. It always just stays on the phone because I forget about it once I turn on the computer.
Maybe you should go back on your phone and...
Every once in a while, yeah. I was going through a writer's block like crazy. I did everything to get out of it. I watched movies. I went running. I went on a walk. I did some drinking.
But drinking always brings some type of inspiration.
It usually does. For me, it usually does, but it didn't do anything. So I just I didn't touch a computer or a piano or a guitar for like 3 days. And then when I came back, I was good again.
Sometimes that happens. Sometimes you just need to clear your mind or go through your own emotional roller coaster.
Right. You have to, yeah.
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 Well, thank you. I think we've covered everything, and I can't wait till your album comes out.
Thank you.
Thank you. So this is Lucky Smith, and the article will be up in a few days. Thank you.